All right, hello everyone listening at home and watching in on the live stream. We're getting ready for game 3 of the day, which will be East Vic Roller Derby Witches of East Vic versus Kingston City Rollers, the Royals. My name's the Intensive Clare Unit and I will be commentating this game. Before we start, we would like to acknowledge the Gunai Kurnai people as the traditional owners of the land on which we are gathered and pay our respects to their elders past and present and future. A little bit of info about this game. We've got these two teams so it's a semi-final, so these two teams each finished at the second place within their respective pools, and this game will... the winner of this game will be in the grand final at the next round. So the next round, the grand final, which will be on the 26th of August, hosted by Pivot City Rangers in Geelong. And today's game, of course, is hosted by TRB, which is made up of Warrnambool Roller Derby League, Albury Wodonga Roller Derby, Gippsland Lakes Roller Derby, Wimmera Roller Derby League and Mildura Roller Derby League. So here we are today in beautiful Sale. It's a lovely sunny winter's day and we've got about a minute to go before we start, which should be enough time to quickly run through the team rosters. So for the Witches of East Vic, we have 09 Nat O'Nine Tails, 10 Never Ending Rory, 13 Knives to Meet You, 144 Butcher Bird, 2 Evie, 23 Nicholas Rage, 27 Achilles Wheel, 33 Tenacious V, 351 Push Up Ra, 4 Strawberry Shortskate, 42 Mad Mags Fury Roll, 5 The Rumour, 55 Cups, 7 Jack Spite, 71 Pushy Tat, 73 Jane Saw. And for the Royals, we have 12 Crush, 182 Mayhem, 22 Screw, 35 Carnage, 469 Exy, 7 Bam, 81 Bianca, 88 Raff, and 91 Mary Fury. And I have been joined on the commentator bench by Beck. Hello.
No, I'm not on.
Oh, Beck
I
is
think
not on.
I might be on now, maybe? No? Yes, there we go.
Oh, there you are.
I
Hello.
have a voice. Hi.
Nice to see you.
Yes, nice to see you too.
Welcome to the bench.
Thank you.
Oh,
It's nice to have a sit down and a rest.
yes. All right, we've got 1 second to go. Oh, and there's that first whistle. Who have we got?
Jamming for Kingston. We've got 2-2 Screw Lucy.
All right, Knives to Meet You for the Witches of East Vic, and Knives is being held at the back of the pack there. The very strong Kingston blockers holding at the back of the pack, whereas Screw Lucy's pushed at the front of the pack. So pretty solid defence for both teams, but Knives to Meet You has made it out the front, followed closely behind by Screw Lucy. Looks like Screw Lucy has lead, actually.
All right, jamming for Kingston. We've got number 7 Bam, and for East Vic, I believe that's Cupcake Fairy over there. Cups. Bam getting lead there out the front. And Cupcake Fairy pushing through a very strong Kingston triangle. Cups making it through.
Looks like Cups has got a penalty there.
Well, I wasn't sure. Yes, sitting for a penalty, unfortunately. Bam coming around for another pass. Kingston working together there to hold an East Vic player. Gives them the pack advantage, of course. Bam getting out and through. Cupcake Fairy back on track now and making it through the pack. And Bam calling it off, saying hi to her mum.
It's great that we have this live stream that allows our friends and family to watch us play at home. So hello to all the mums out there. All right, this next jam, who have we got? We've got Strawberry Short Skate for East Vic, and looks like Bianca for Kingston. All right, so the whistle goes. Both jammers hitting the back of the pack there. Solid defensive wall, both teams, and looks like all Bianca's making it out the front of the pack there. A couple of East Vic blockers holding her, but she has made it through for lead jammer. Strawberry Shortcake still stuck in the back of the pack there, getting a little bit of offensive assistance there from the blockers, but Bianca's coming back for another pass to see if she can score some points. Strawberry Shortcake being recycled at the back of the pack. So the East Vic tripod at the front of the pack there is holding quite strongly. And the Kingston tripod at the back of the pack is holding quite strongly. So Exie coming in to do a little bit of offensive assistance there at the front. But unfortunately, Bianca's being recycled back a little bit. So having to push through, but making it past Tenacious V as the one blocker on track. All right, so the East Vic blockers coming back to try and do a little bit of offense to help their jammer out, while Bianca comes around for another scoring pass. A little bit of a stumble there at the back, a little bit of friendly fire. Strawberry Shortcake's made it out the front there. Oh, hang on, it's Natto Ninetails. Has there been a star pass? Looks like there was a star pass.
I believe so.
Okay.
Must have been a really quick one, because I didn't notice that either.
I was not paying attention. Sneaky, those sneaky East Vic players. But unfortunately, Natto Ninetails is heading to the penalty box, serving a penalty for, I believe it was a cut track. But Kingston actually has a couple of skaters in the penalty box as well. So East Vic's jammer is in the box, not able to score points. But East Vic does have the blocker advantage with only 2 Kingston blockers on track. So a little bit of shenanigans here. The Kingston jammer there is taking their time, not coming on track, just waiting until the blockers come out of the pack so that they can assist her in getting through her additional scoring pass. Struggle. All right, making it through, and that is the end of that jam. Natto Ninetails just making it out of the box in time for the end of that jam. So we're coming into the next jam with an empty penalty box.
All right, we've got 0 for the Witches and 27 for Kingston on the scoreboard. Screw Lucy jamming for Kingston again now. And let me see. Can't see who we've got there for East Vic. Number 4-2.
Mad Mags.
Mad Mags getting lead there, so in control of the jam.
We are not where we're located. It's a bit difficult for us to see exactly who the skaters are, so apologies for taking us a little moment to identify them.
And I'm a little bit further away from the scoreboard, so I'm squinting.
Well, at the end of that jam, East Vic got 1 point at that jam, so they are
officially on the scoreboard.
They have points on the board, yeah. And Kingston also got 1 point, and they're on 28. All right, so next jam, we've got the rumour for East Vic. And Kingston is BAM's jamming. All right, so and we're away. So really solid pack there. Everyone's clustered all together. Rumour's getting recycled, but BAM has made it out the front as lead jammer at the front of the pack there. And the Rumour is still pushing through. One last blocker to get past, which looks like
Fury giving them a run for their money there.
Yeah, that's Marie is a solid blocker, really hard to get past. So even one-on-one, really, really strong blocker. All right, so BAM's coming through the pack, ready to start scoring some points, and Rumour is still stuck by the looks of it in that pack, but has made it through on the inside line of the apex there to make their initial pass. Bam's being pushed to the outside line there on the apex and decides to call off the jam. So that's just in time because the rumour was heading towards the back of the pack to start scoring points. So Bam's called it off before she was able to do that. So Kingston got 3 points from that jam and no points for East Vic in that jam.
Very strategic move by their bench. All right, we have got for Kingston, pink 8-1, Bianca. And for East Vic, I believe that's Cupcake Fairy, hitting the pack nice and hard and fast, taking a bit of a tumble there on turn 1, being drawn back. And Bianca collecting lead for Kingston. We've got an East Vic player heading to the bin there, unfortunately. Bit of a messy pack there on turn 1. Kingston calling it off after collecting those points. So we have got 4 points for Kingston and unfortunately a 0 for East Vic. That one again.
Yeah, so Kingston seems to be getting lead a bit more often so far in the couple of jams we've had, and they've been taking advantage of that by scoring some quick points and then calling off the jam. So stopping East Vic from being able to score. A very strategic move. So, all right, we've got lined up from, looks like Screw Lucy for Kingston. And oh, I can't
Knives.
see. Knives. Oh, it's Knives. Knives to meet you. So Screw Lucy has made it out as lead jammer, but Knives is not so far behind, just coming around the apex there as we're heading to the back of the pack at the end of the first straightaway. Screw Lucy being recycled back by Nato Ninetails. Knives to meet you being held by that really strong defensive tripod there at the front of the pack. Kingston's defence is really strong. Nato Ninetails coming to do a little bit of offense to try and help. Knives looks like she's been stuck at the back. And Knives has come off the track and passed the star to Nato Ninetails, who's the pivot. So now Nat is going to be trying to score some points. Meanwhile, Screw Lucy's taking the outside line, being pushed to the line there by those East Vic blockers. So holding just 2 blockers there at the front of the pack, trying to hold on to Screw Lucy. Nato Ninetails is spinning around on the inside line at the apex there, coming around to the outside to try and get through. Nato Ninetails taking the inside line around the jammer line position to score 4 points. Screw Lucy just making out of the pack as well, taking the message from the bench, from Chops on the bench, to call off the jam. So for that jam, that was 4 points to the Witches and 8 points to Kingston. So the total score at the moment, East Vic 5, Kingston 43. So let's see if East Vic can try to get lead and claw back some of the difference there, or see if Kingston can run away with a lead.
We've got a familiar matchup here again with Cupcake Fairy against Bam. Bam pushing hard against that triangle at the front. However, Cupcake Fairy, Cups has collected lead. Bam is still pushing out around the corner there and making it through past those 2 blockers that have also just collected a penalty for being out of play. Cupcake Fairy coming around and scoring there. And blockers from both teams just taking a moment to get back together.
Bam, so the Kingston Jammer has been sent to the penalty box.
Do you know what for?
No, I didn't see. But it's an advantage for East Vic now to try and score as many points as they can, while Kingston is unable to score points.
All right, we've got some blockers returning to track after having served their penalties. Cupcake Fairy pushing through that triangle, sending blockers this way and that way. My goodness.
Some big hits there from Cups, yeah.
Looking to the bench for some instruction. Bam fighting their way through that triangle at the front, pushing hard there. Well, that is a strong triangle that is very locked down. Bam's got one last blocker there at the front. No, thank you, on her way.
It's nice to see smiles on their faces as they come against each other.
Sense of achievement when you make it through the pack.
Yeah.
You get about 10 seconds before you have to then go and do it again, though.
Yeah. It's tough, but it's friendly.
All right, we've got a score of 21 for East Vic and 48 for Kingston now.
Very good jam there from East Vic, getting 16 points on the board. All right, we've got Strawberry Shortskate for East Vic and Bianca for Kingston. Lining up at the jammer line. All right, so Kingston are lining up their blockers in a split formation. And East Vic are keeping sort of the top of the pack there. A little bit of offensive assistance for Natto Ninetails on the outside line, but Strawberry Shortcake still being held at the back of the pack by that really strong defensive tripod. Bianca at the front of the pack, pushing the pack forward and trying to force the blockers to spread out a little bit. Bianca's pushed through that last blocker to make it out to get lead. Strawberry Shortcake still stuck at the back of the pack. A little bit of offense from the East Vic blockers, who are quickly reforming, ready to take that big hit from Bianca, but she's sort of starting to break them up there on the apex. Big hit to the outside line, being recycled. All right, looks like there's been a star pass for East Vic. Natto Ninetails is now our jammer, and she's making her way around. Couple of stumbles there on the track. Bianca's just decided to call it off quickly. She's on the floor. Let's just call it off. Let's start again. I can't see the scoreboard. Looks like Witches of East Vic got 1 point from that jam.
Yes, takes them to 22.
Kingston's got none from that jam by the looks of it, and so they're on 48.
All right, we've got Screw Lucy and Evie. Haven't seen Evie jam yet, have we?
No, not yet.
Nice and fresh. But Screw's making it past her own blockers up to the front there, pushing against that triangle. And has collected lead. Evie still working with that Kingston triangle. Lots of hitting happening there. It's hard to see from this angle. It's a long way away, but has made it through the pack. Unfortunately, the Kingston pivot has collected a penalty. And Screw Lucy is calling it off after collecting 4 points. Nothing for East Vic by the looks of it. So we've got 22 to 52.
Yeah, so the Kingston strategy of get lead, get a few points, call it off quickly is working for them thus far. So it'll be interesting to see how East Vic can counter that as the game progresses. All right, that's the 5-second call. We've got Bam for Kingston and the Rumour for East Vic. All right, the Rumour's taking the inside line. Bam is taking the back of the pack. All right, the Rumour pushing the pack forward and unfortunately being recycled there by Exie, but then Exie's been given a penalty, so Rumour's straight back on the track. Can't see what's happening. All right, the Rumour has made it out as lead jammer at the apex there, coming around the inside line. And Kingston looks like I'm not sure what's happening with the jam there. All right, so Rumour's hitting the back of the pack there, being held and taking the outside line to make it on through for 4 points. All right, there has been a star pass for Kingston. That's what I thought I could see, but I wasn't quite sure. So Dream Crusher is our new jammer for Kingston. All right, Rumour taking the inside line at the apex there. Great offensive assistance by Natto Ninetails. Meanwhile, the East Vic blockers walled up, but Dream Crusher is too hard and too fast. Broke through that defensive tripod really easily for 4 points. Rumour coming around the back of the pack. Kingston blockers all walled up carefully at the back, but Rumour's taking the outside line. Bit of offensive assist from Natto Ninetails. Called off the jam, but as she took the outside line there, it looks like she cut track and has been assessed a penalty by our referee, Gary. So the Rumour's going to be starting the next jam from the penalty box, and that will give Kingston a bit of an advantage there. They'll be starting with a power jam, with their having the only jammer on track.
I'm just looking at the comments online here. Apparently we're having some scoreboard issues, so we will do our best to keep repeating the scores for the viewers online as well. Kingston have collected lead. That would be skater 8-1 Bianca. And who have we got jamming for East Vic?
It's a rumour starting from the
Rumour
penalty
starting
box.
Oh,
Ooh.
sneaky.
All right, so Bianca's called it off before the rumour has been able to get out of the penalty box. So she's going to be starting another jam from the penalty box. All right, quick score update. East Vic 32, Kingston on 60 points. And looks like we're having a timeout. Not sure if it's a team timeout or an official timeout. Oh, team timeout for Kingston. I have been advised. All right, so we've got about 11 and a half, 12 minutes left of this game. So, of this half. Oh, sorry, everyone. So Kingston's racing away with a bit of a lead here, 60 points to 32 for East Vic. So be really interesting to see at the end of this timeout what kind of strategy changes we see for both teams and how they respond to the game situation. So East Vic's got a bit of an advantage in that they've got a lot more players on their roster today. Kingston, they don't have as many, so I guess they're potentially worried about getting tired. So it'd be a good idea to get a lead in the first half and really see if you can maintain it, because they're going to get a bit more tired than East Vic, because they've got a lot more players to work with.
It goes with their team staying, you see, tiny but
But
mighty.
mighty, and they're doing really well for just a small number of skaters. They've done really well this whole tournament, really strong with a really small roster, so it's great to see. All right, so I don't know what's going on. What's happening?
We've got screw jamming.
Screw for Kingston, and the rumour
rumour
has come out of the penalty box for East Vic. So we have two jammers on track, and the rumour's taking the outside line. A bit of offensive assistance there from Push Up Ra. Screw Lucy really trying, pushing hard against the Natto Ninetails as the last blocker on track at the front of the pack there, but making it through for lead. The rumour is not that far behind, made it out for their initial pass, but is not the lead jammer. Both teams have got blockers in the penalty box now, so it's a small pack on track. Kingston doing a lot of offense to try and separate those two East Vic blockers, so make it really easy for Screw Lucy to get through. The rumour coming to the back of the pack just as Kingston is able to reform a tripod. A little bit of offensive assistance, but now the rumour is pushing through to try to spread that pack out. Okay, so Kingston jammer, Screw Lucy hitting the back of the East Vic tripod. They've had someone come back from the penalty box, so there's a few. All right, looks like the penalty box is clear now. Both jammers still struggling to get through, and Screw Lucy has made it through for 4 points. And the rumour is still stuck at the back of the pack there. Bit of offensive assistance, but the Kingston blockers are reforming really quickly, and they're coming back together to form really strong walls. And at the same time, when they're one-on-one, they're doing a really good job as well. So it's a bit of tough work for the rumour there. Trying to move to the inside line. Natto Ninetails is trying to get rid of some of those blockers to make things a bit easier. As I said, they're reforming really quickly. So that end of that jam, what did we do? We got, I can't see the scoreboard, 4 points to East Vic to give them a total of 36, and 11 points from that jam to Kingston to give them a total of 71.
Comment on the stream from Sam Fish saying, don't mention KCOS having a history of failing in the second half, fading in the second half. You'll jinx it. I need my own mic.
who have we got for this jam? We've got Bam for Kingston and Cupcake Fairy Cups for East Vic. Looks like a bit of a timeout there, but looks like we're back ready to start the next jam. There's our 5-second call.
And off we go with Bam taking the front there with the East Vic triangle, making it through and collecting lead. Cups is now pushing against that Kingston triangle. East Vic players coming down and giving a little bit of help there as Bam comes around for a scoring pass. Cups really fighting hard with that Kingston triangle at the front. They're really locking down. Bit of a hit out on Bam being drawn back. That East Vic triangle just waiting ever so patiently for the delivery of Bam. And Cups has made it through. Kingston taking the opportunity to come in and do a little bit of offence, helping Bam. And Bam calling it off as per their bench's instruction. We've got, what was our score? Let's see, 0 for East Vic and 4 for Kingston. So 36 to East Vic and 75 for Kingston.
All right, Kingston is racing away, really extending their lead. So a bit of work to do for East Vic. So we've got Strawberry Short Skate for East Vic and Bianca for Kingston. Let's see what we can do from this jam. All right, both teams are sending strong tripods, holding the jammers at the back at the start of the jam. Bianca's being held strongly at the back. Big hit out there for Strawberry Short Skate. Looks like she's going to have to recycle, but the block has been sent to the penalty box, so Short Skate's straight back on track. Being pushing out the front, taking the inside line on the apex there. Bit of offensive assist from Nato Ninetails, and Strawberry Short Skate has a league jammer. All right, Bianca's still pushing at the back of the pack there. Strong offensive tripod. Looks like they've got all 4 blockers there trying to hold her back. And Strawberry Shortcake is facing Marie Fury, but now the Kingston blockers are being able to reform. But now they've been spread out again. Marie Fury is the last blocker to hold, but Strawberry Shortcake making a pass and has scored 4 points. Oh, effort on the outside line there for Bianca, trying to sneak on through, but a big hit knocked her off track, being forced to recycle. And looks like Bianca actually cut. So when she was knocked off track, one of the East Vic blockers rolled back, and Bianca came back on the track in front of that blocker, and unfortunately that means she cut the track and will be sent to the penalty box. So this is a great opportunity for Strawberry Short Skate to race away and try and get some points while she is the only jammer on track. Kingston working hard to stay together, keep their defensive tripod strong, but East Vic is doing a little bit of offense to try and break them up, force the blockers, force the pack to spread out, make it easier for Strawberry Shortcake to get through if that pack gets separated. All right, so Bianca's back on track and has hit the defensive tripod at the back of the pack there from East Vic. They're holding really strong. We've got a split pack at the moment. Strawberry Shortcake with 1 blocker at the front to get past, and that is the end of that jam. So that was a really good jam for East Vic. They got 12 points, and Kingston got 0 points from that jam. So score update, East Vic 48, Kingston 75.
All right, lining up for our next jam, we've got 2-2 Screw Lucy for Kingston. And who is our purple 4-2? Mad Mags. And we are off. Let's see. Bit of a mess there to start with. Few falls, but we've got Screw Lucy out the front there pushing through. Oh, not what you want to hear. A cut track for the Kingston jammer, Screw Lucy there. Happening over on turn 1, which is unfortunately the furthest part of the track from us where we're sitting in the commentary box today. Let me see, what are we happening with Mags? Being pushed
Mags
out
has
and
taken
recycled
the
back.
star off. So a bit hard to spot her.
Refs there signalling that star plus has been completed, so we now have purple 2-7 as
Achilles
our
wheel.
jammer for East Vic. now wearing the star, so they are now their scoring player, lining up that Kingston triangle. Screw Lucy returning from the penalty box. And purple 2-7, Achilles wheel being drawn back there, obviously with a hit out. Oh, straight into the back of that Kingston triangle on turn 2. Screw Lucy coming through. Hand signals there from the refs stating that you are not lead jammer.
If you've got a penalty, you lose the lead jammer status. So Screw, I think, got lead originally and then got a penalty pretty fast. I think, is that what happened?
Derby happened.
So there's no lead jammer.
We will have a full 2-minute jam, but there is only 20 seconds left on the clock. Screw coming through and being knocked out there by the East Vic blockers. Has made it through now though. And that's the end of that jam. Let me have a look. We have got, the scores are 3 for East Vic in that jam and 8 for Kingston, bringing us to 51 points for East Vic and 83 for Kingston.
All right, Kingston skaters heading on track. We've got Bam jamming. And East Vic Achilles wheel is jammer, but we're starting from the penalty box. All right, and we're away. So Kingston is, I've really only got to do offense to try and get Bam out as fast as they can before Achilles wheel is out of the box and back on track. They've done a little bit of that, and now they're straight back into defence as Achilles wheel is on track again. Bam taking the outside line on the second turn and getting a lead jammer. Achilles wheel being held one-on-one by Exie. Exie is a really, really solid blocker, so you don't want to be stuck with just Exie. And you don't want to be stuck with Exie and friends either. Really strong defensive work. So Bam has made it through for 4 points. Achilles wheel is fighting her way through at taking the outside line, getting a little bit of help there, but then still being hit by those reforming Kingston blockers as they come back together. All right, so Achilles, they are pushing hard and taking the outside line there, trying to get some assistance from Nado Ninetails, and they've taken the outside line, cutting to the inside line, but they're still being held as Kingston are reforming really fast. Bam's being held also at the back of the pack there by East Vic. Looks like Bam's wanting to call it off, and there was a star pass for East Vic, but no points were scored from that. So that jam, East Vic, no points. Kingston, 4 points. Score update, East Vic, 51. Kingston, 91. I spoke too soon. They got 8 points, not 4. 51 to 91. There you go. We've got a minute 30 left on this half, so this might be our last or second last jam.
And it looks like we've got 5 cups. Is that cups? Yes, that's cups out there for East Vic. And I believe it's Bianca again for Kingston. Pink 8-1 lining up. Although we've got a timeout happening at the moment, an official timeout. Refs just having a chat, checking in.
Conversations are happening. Not sure exactly what we're talking about. Is it track maintenance?
I think we just had some clarification from the East Vic bench there as they were talking to
Okay.
Frank,
Okay.
who of course is our head
The
ref
head ref
today. Frank's obviously feeding something back to the ref crew.
Right, so it looks like a bit of feedback for the team, so we'll see what happens.
Rolling whistle there, signalling that that is the end of the official timeout. 5 seconds. The next whistle will start the jam. Cups and Bianca just having a little bit of a skate together there before the start. But Bianca getting through really quickly and cleanly there, collecting lead. Cups fighting through one-on-one there with Fury, but getting out as well. Kingston doing some nice offensive work there, getting their jammer through for those points and calling it off nice and quick. There's that points and call strategy that we're seeing a lot of in this game.
It's a good strategy.
It is when it's your team's strategy.
Yes, yes. Very frustrating when it's not your team because
it's hard to counter.
Yeah, and you might be just about to score some points, and that opportunity is taken away from you. It's incredibly frustrating. So not only is it good on the scoreboard, but it's if it's your team, but it's also good as that kind of psychological upper hand. All right, so 40 seconds left on the period clock. Might be our last jam. We've got Screw Lucy and Knives to Meet You jamming. All right, so both jammers tangled in the pack on the apex. Bit of stumbling going on, people falling, and Knives is being recycled on the inside. All right, what's going on? Sorry, I got distracted. All right, so Screw Lucy being recycled on the outside line. Knives to Meet You is taking the outside line and has made it through and has got lead jammer. All right, so Screw Lucy's getting some offensive assistance there from Mayhem to take the inside line, coming around to second apex. Knives to Meet You heading back towards the back of the pack. Pack is speeding up a little bit, just see if they can help her out a little bit. Knives calling it off just as Screw Lucy heads towards the back of the pack. So it's similar strategy, couple of points, and call it off before the other team can. So at the end of that jam, we are now, looks like we're at intermission, barring any surprise timeouts or anything. So score update at half time, East Vic 53, Kingston 95. So we might leave you for a little bit, but before we do that, do you think we should go through our skating and non-skating officials and photographers and let everyone know who our excellent people we have on track today are?
Absolutely. We'll start with our non-skating officials today. We've got our head NSO, Buster Hammy. Our jam timer is Turbo Kerbo. We've got Buster Hammy and PMS as our penalty lineup trackers. Mad Pixie, Bearskin Bruiser and Hell's Bells are in the scoreboard down the very far end there, pushing all the magic buttons for us. Penalty box manager is Melonhead, and we've got Blizzard Liz Williams and on the penalty box timers, and Scare Bear is just hanging around in case they're needed.
Thank you, yeah. So our skating officials, our referees in their striped zebra costumes. Our head skating official, head ref is Frankenhurter. Inside pack ref, Zarantula. Jammer ref, Florence. Other jammer ref, Siebes the Day. Outside pack refs are, we'll see the Vampire Slayer, Gary and Roast. And our alt ref today is Miss Cray Cray.
Well, I don't know about you, but I am going to go and have some lunch from the incredible taco van that is hiding outside. Sorry to our online viewers.
Yeah, you don't get that from home.
You could make it at home if you've got them.
Yeah, so this is why it's great to come in person to statewide. We've got one more statewide round, which is the grand final on the 26th of August. So come on down to that. That'll be in Geelong. But when you come along in person, not only do you get to cheer and see your friends in live in the flesh, but you also get to enjoy the beautiful coffee carts, the food trucks, the bake sales, the merch stalls, and the raffles that we have on track, or off track, sorry, next to the track today. So come on down if you can next round. But yeah, lunchtime, good idea, Beck.
Hello, and we are back. We've got 1 minute until the derby recommences. I've just been outside and I can tell you that there is a donut van and a coffee van out there. Their donut selection is insane. I have a peppermint crispy looking donut in front of me at the moment that I can't wait to eat, but I will wait because you don't need to hear that happening.
It looks beautiful.
And there is a Mexican food taco truck out there as well. I think they're both going to be there for a couple more hours yet. But the coffee donut van did sort of say that they were finishing up around 3 for those of you in the stadium.
All right, we've got 35 seconds till the second half starts.
Some skaters returning to track there. Looks. I'm laughing because Bam always gives herself a little bit of a cheer and a clap and applause. She also does clap and cheer and applause for other people, but you can't cheer for yourself. Hey, Bam. Claps for Bam. She's not listening. We've got some photographers floating around today as well, which we're always very thankful for. We've got Hawkeye from RXA, we've got Scout from Alrighty Production House, and Phil is floating around maybe from Lollapalooza Films. We love our photographers because without photos, did it really happen? And of course, they do catch our derby faces.
And also when we look beautiful.
Sometimes.
Look like we're superstar champions.
That might take some special editing.
Sports legends. All right, that is the 5-second whistle. And we've got Knives to Meet You and Bam jamming. Oh, and the pack is solid. And both jammers are just stuck there at the back. Trying a bit of side-to-side move, trying to break that up, make some space. Bam taking the inside line. Very successful. Great job giving herself a little bit of a clap as she makes it around on the inside line. Knives is still stuck in the back of that pack there, being held really, really strongly. Mayhem's doing some great one-on-one stuff there. And Bam is coming back to try and score some more points. So again, the pack speed is really slowed down. It's really solidified. So really solid pack at the moment. Just spreading out at the back as Knives is being recycled. And taking the inside line, unfortunately coming off the track. So both jammers are now being recycled. Pack's reforming. Nato Ninetail's coming just a little bit of offense. All right, looks like Knives has unfortunately been given a penalty. I didn't see what the penalty was. So this is a great advantage here for Bam. Only jammer on track. Getting a bit of offensive assistance on the outside line by Fury coming around, cutting along the inside line at the apex, scoring 4 points, having a look at the bench and calling it off. All right, so sneaky move. It's 4 points, call it off, and Knives is stuck in the penalty box. So I think Knives will be is sitting as jammer. Yes, even though she did take the star off, I think she's still sitting as the jammer.
All right, jam has started. So we've got Bianca out there for Kingston as the jammer, coming up along with that East Vic wall, knocking those blockers down and just skipping through, collecting lead. Knives out of the penalty box now, stepping on track. Bianca, oh, that's a strong wall that she's come up against there. Pushing to hard to get through. Knives has made it through, placing that star back on their helmet. That is the end of the jam though. Cannot see the scoreboard unfortunately for the Peoples. What have we got?
Right.
Claire,
so
can you?
Yeah, I've got a view. East Vic got no points in that jam and Kingston got 4. So the score update is East Vic 53, Kingston 103. All right, so it looks like we've got, I think we've got an empty penalty box, and we've got Screw Lucy for Kingston, and we've got Strawberry Shortskate for East Vic. Strawberry Shortcake running along the outside line there in the first straightaway to take a lead jammer, and Screw Lucy making it out not far behind, so great little bit of pack manipulation there from Kingston, holding the pack at the back, forcing East Vic to spread out at the front, making it easier for their jam to get through. All right, so Screw Lucy on the inside line there has made it through for 4 points, and Strawberry Short Skate is still at the back of the pack. They're being hit out by Mayhem and forced to recycle. So East Vic blockers needing to reform back together because Screw Lucy is coming through hard and fast. And was hit out just at the end there, and at the same time Strawberry Short Skate calling off the jam to try and I guess mitigate the damage as Kingston was scoring more points in that jam. So 7 points to that jam for Kingston and 3 for East Vic. So while East Vic did have leads jammer status, Kingston was able to score more points.
All right, we've got Bam up for Kingston again, and Knives taking a nice big run up there, giving Knives taking that extra power, hot on Bam's heels. Bam looking to the bench for some advice there and has called it off, which prevents Knives from scoring any points.
So no points each for that jam. That was a really quick one.
There's
So-
that strategy again.
Yeah, strategy there. Like, you don't score any points yourself, but you also stop the other team from scoring any points. So I guess that's good. All right, so cups for East Vic, and it's like Bianca for Kingston. And again, the penalty box is empty, so Cups taking a quick run up on the inside past the Kingston blockers who were lined up at the back. So Cups has got lead jammer. Meanwhile, Bianca's been given a penalty. I didn't see what the penalty was there, but she's in the box. All right, so it's a great opportunity here for East Vic to take advantage of their power jam and also having lead jammer status. So not only are they the only team that can score points, they also have that power to call off the jam if they want to. So Cups taking the inside line but being knocked out, forced to recycle. And one of the Kingston blockers getting a penalty there. So Kingston's down a few blockers and also down a jammer, but if you're just up against Mayhem and Dream Crusher, it's really, really tough. Two really strong blockers. You don't need a full contingent when you've just got those two really excellent blockers to get past. Meanwhile, Bianca's back on track and has cut around the outside line on the third turn to sneak past the East Vic blockers and make it through on their initial pass. But Cups has seen what's happening, doesn't want Kingston to score any points and has called it off. So that jam was 4 points to East Vic and no points to Kingston. So scoreboard update, 60 points to East Vic, 110 to Kingston.
We've got Screw and Knives lining up for jammers this time.
Knives doing a run-up again.
Yes, taking full advantage of the speed for that nice, fast, hard impact hit there on the triangle. Few jukey movements and they are out and lead. We've got Carnage free from the penalty box now, back on track as well. Bit of a tumble there on first turn. Screw pushing hard against those two East Vic blockers, being hit out and drawn back. And the Knives being hit out as well. And we have reverse derby. Exie dragging right back there. Gotta love a bit of reverse derby.
So everyone's being recycled at once, and
We go the other direction. However, the scores, we did manage to pick up 4 points for East Vic then, bringing them to 64. Kingston still on their 110.
yeah, and at the end of that, looked like Knives was getting a bit sick of the reverse derby. Scored some points and thought, nah, this is going the wrong way.
Literally.
Let's just stop. Let's just start again, but going the right way. All right, so we have some jammer refs playing games with each other, and we've got Bam for Kingston and Cups for East Vic. So Cups at the back of the pack and Bam at the front of the pack. Cups taking the outside line. Very nice, taking lead jammer. So she looks like an attempted hit out, but Mayhem is being sent to the penalty box. So both teams have got a blocker in the penalty box, and looks like there's, oh no, not a star pass, just a hat's fallen off. So both jammers coming around now. Bam's made her initial pass, and Cups is coming back for an additional scoring pass. Bam taking the inside line at the apex, and Cups also taking the inside line at the apex. A little bit of friendly fire there, but has made it through the pack. All right, both teams needing to wall up and reform. Kingston is stopping the East Vic blockers from getting back into their defensive tripod formation. So a great bit of pack manipulation and offense there to hold them up and keep them distracted. So that's making it easy for Bam to get through, as she does for 4 points. Cups cutting on the inside, cutting through on the inside line. Didn't cut the track, sorry. For another 4 points. All right, hectic offense there on the third turn as well, and Bam's coming through again for 4 points. So a bit of a high-scoring jam, this one. Cups at the back of the pack there, trying to get past Jack Spite, doing some posting offense there on the outside. And Cups called it off after scoring a 1 point at the end. So that jam was high-scoring, 13 points to East Vic and 12 to Kingston. So really just the 1 point advantage after all of that work from both teams. 77 for East Vic, 122 to Kingston.
All right, we've got Strawberry Short Skate and Bianca, I think, yes. Bianca up to jam now. Bianca dancing around that triangle of East Vic players, pushing them this way and that way to create some gaps and holes, which has worked. However, oops, accidentally collected a high block penalty there, so they will have to sit that one out, which means that Strawberry Short Skate can make their way through the pack and get lead. Both teams just taking a moment to get back together. And some big hits there from Nada Ninetails, captain for East Vic, breaking up that Kingston triangle to make some gaps and spaces to get Strawberry Shortcake through. Mayhem saying, yeah, I don't think so. Strawberry Shortcake going through and collecting 4 more points there. Exie returning to track from the penalty box, but swapping out for Raf, unfortunately, now. And Bianca's coming through, but no, they're good. They've made it through the pack now, so they're coming around for their scoring pass. We've got Exie heading back to the bin and Nada Ninetails heading to the bin as well. So quite a penalty-heavy jam, this jam. However, East Vic are a nice strong triangle at the top of that turn too. Bianca coming through on that inside line. Mayhem getting in there, trying to get in the way of those East Vic blockers. Some offensive work there. Bianca coming around the outside that time. And Strawberry Shortcake coming through, scoring some points. That's the end of the jam. We have got 16 points, I believe, for East Vic that time, and 8, it looks like, for Kingston. So 93 for East Vic and 130 for Kingston.
All right, so looks like we might potentially be about to have a timeout because, oh no, there is, it's already been called. I wasn't paying attention. While we have the timeout, I'd like to take a moment to thank our volunteers, everyone who's helped out today, our skating and non-skating officials. We've got Beard who's helping out with the live stream. We've got commentators, including Beck and myself. We're volunteering our time today. So thank you to everyone for volunteering their time to help make Derby happen. And also an extra big shout out to our first aiders. Thank you so much, First Aid team, for being here, keeping us safe, making sure we're all safe and healthy. And let this be your reminder, if you haven't done your first aid certificate recently or ever, now is the time. Get it done. support your local St John's or through the Red Cross, you can get your first aid certificate. So, reminder, go and do that. Okie dokie, what's happening? All right, Screw Lucy is lining up for Kingston and Knives to meet you for Eastvic. And our referees are getting into position. 5-second call from their jam timer. And there is the whistle. As Kingston blockers roll backwards onto Knives to try and hold her back, but she has cut through on the inside to be really strong, making it through, getting lead jammer. Screw Lucy not far behind, but unfortunately being assessed a forearms penalty. It's heading straight to the box. So Knives to meet you, the only jammer on track. And Eastvic wanting to do a little bit of offence to try and help Knives, as they don't need to do any defence at the moment. All right, Knives making it through on the inside line at the first apex, and we've got a couple of blockers in the penalty box as well. So both teams with just the 3 blockers. Eastvic coming to do a little bit of offence, try and break up the Kingston tripod, but they are reforming. They're staying together really carefully, coming back strongly. Mayhem getting a penalty there, which was, I believe, a forearm as well. So that's 4 points for Knives. Meanwhile, Screw Lucy is back on track and has made their initial pass. Knives having a look at where Screw Lucy is, deciding I'm going to call it off before Screw can score any points. So at the end of that jam, that was 12 points to Eastvic. Excellent jam for them, to no points to Kingston. So really good job there for Eastvic, taking advantage of the power jam situation. So score update, Eastvic 105, Kingston 130.
All right, we've got Cups and Bam lining up again together there. Bit of giggling and carrying on before the whistle. But on turn 1, we see that Cups has taken that inside line, collecting lead along the way. Bam pushing hard as Bam can against those Eastvic players. 1, 2, 3, round they go. Refs say out of play, and Bam is making their way around again. Cups pushing through, getting around those Kingston blockers. Bit of a hit there from May, who has actually picked up a penalty. Cups is calling it off from the floor.
From the floor, bit of drama.
Not without collecting some points, though, I do believe. Oh, it's a 4 for you and 4. Oh, no, 3. 3 for Eastvic, 4 for Kingston. Eastvic's broken the 100. Yay! We've got 1-0. No, for what? Okay, scoreboard is currently changing its mind about things. 4 for Eastvic, 3 for Kingston, 109 for Eastvic, and 133 for Kingston.
All right, and we're away again. We've got one blocker from both teams in the penalty box, so making life a little bit easier for the jammers. We've got Bianca for Kingston racing around on the to the front of the pack, but really close behind. Was nice to meet you. So they both kind of came out of the pack at around the same time. Knives is now in front, but Bianca has lead jammer status and has decided, you know what, no points for you. If I can't have any, neither can you, and has called it off just as the jammers reach the back of the pack there. So really quick jam, no points to either team. And it looks like both of the blockers that were in the penalty box are still in the penalty box, I think. I can't quite see.
I think we've got a Kingston
we have two.
pivot standing, but we've got a Kingston blocker sitting, and maybe one Eastvic blocker standing. So it looks a little light on track. Cup's going, thank you. I'm going to go through here and get lead. That would be great. Screw has been knocked out though, dragged back there by Jack. Back on track now, making her way through our little tiny pack. Both jammers coming round now, turns 3 and 4. Blockers on track doing the best they can to try and hold those jammers. It's not always as easy when you don't have everybody there. Kingston triangle, giving Cups something to think about. And the East Vic blockers are also doing a really good job of getting in Screw's way. Bit of offensive work there from the Kingston blockers, helping Screw get through, collecting 4 points.
Cups has been sent to the penalty box.
I did wonder where she disappeared to. That's a shame.
Snuck off track.
All right. Screw coming around then, collecting another 4 points. Got a few more people on track now, which is always nice. Bit of blocker on blocker blocking, which of course is a strategic move so that they can't reform and get their triangle set. Screw coming through. Cups is back on track now, meeting up with that Kingston triangle. Oh, pushing left and right to try and split up those blockers to make a space to get through, and has done so. May taking a bit of a fall there at the same time.
Looks like May gave a bit of a hit to Cups, and Cups just used the momentum to push herself forward, and May ended up on the floor. So it's a good effort if you can use a hit from someone else to your advantage.
Oh, bit of friendly fire there between the East Vic blockers. And that is the end of the jam. Let's have a look at those points. I might take a minute just to let the scoreboard do its thing, because I think I was a bit too quick before. The scoreboard looks happy. 10 points to East Vic, 17 to Kingston. So 119 in total for East Vic, and Kingston at 150.
All right. Scoreboard shenanigans today. All right, and we're away. We've got Strawberry Short Skate for East Vic, and for Kingston, I can't see. Oh, yes, I can. It's Bam.
It's Bam.
All right, so Strawberry's been drawn back by Mayhem and Dream Crusher, and the Kingston blockers forming a really strong tripod. They're pushing her to the outside line, trying to push her off track so they can recycle her again, but she's back on faster than they are, so that didn't work as well, but they are still holding her really strongly. The East Vic blockers at the front are being forced to separate and spread out and bridge, because Bam has pushed so far forward, and Bam has made it out to become lead jammer. Strawberry Short Skate still trying to get through. Bit of offense from East Vic, but Strawberry Shortcake is still getting stuck there. Meanwhile, Bam's only got 2 blockers to deal with. No, 3, they're coming back. 2 blockers, because Nada Ninetails has been doing offense, but now they're coming back together, East Vic blockers, as a defensive tripod to try and hold Bam. All right, so the jam's been called off, and that was 4 points to Kingston and no points to East Vic. Score update: East Vic 119, Kingston 154, and we've got 10 minutes left of this game. So can Kingston stay out in front? Will they run away and blow out the lead? Or can East Vic turn it around and come back in the last 10 minutes?
Or will they call a team timeout and have a little breather?
Yeah, talk a bit of a strat chat, bit of a rest.
Realign their pods sometimes. After penalties can mess up the pods a little bit, you see, the people that you're going to send out on track. So sometimes a timeout's good to just reset who you're sending out.
All right, so the timeout also gives the officials a bit of an opportunity to check they've got everything correct on the paperwork, and they can get a little drink, have a rest themselves. Our referees do work hard, skating around as well, and they don't get jams off the way the skaters do, the players. And our non-skating officials are working hard too, and they're running around making sure everything is being kept in order and done correctly. All right, looks like that timeout is over. Skaters are returning to the track. Got Knives to meet you for East Vic, and coming up around the outside for Kingston is 8-1 Bianca. There's our 5-second call, and there's a whistle. We're away, so not much movement there at the whistle. Knives taking time to assess. Bianca pushing through, taking the outside and busting through for lead jammer really quickly, making it look easy there on the outside. Knives has also made it through. I like to say that Knives has cut through, because Knives do that. And yeah, she did. She cut through. Very nice. So Bianca just hitting one blocker through. That's right there at the top of the pack, but making it look easy, just sliding on through, barely slowing down. Knives is being recycled at the moment by Dream Crusher at the outside line. Fury doing some offense and breaking up their East Vic blockers who aren't able to come back together. So Bianca coming through again for another scoring pass. Knives at the back of the pack assessing the situation, looking for that line. How's she going to try and get through? Being pushed to the line but staying in bounds. And Bianca there has been given a back block penalty, so she will be heading to the penalty box. And Knives is now the only jammer on track, just Dream Crusher and Fury to get past, and Knives looks like she's not enjoying those two blockers. They look like some really tough blockers to get past. Knives is struggling, so East Vic block is coming through to try and do some offense, try and help her out. Knives has made it through for 4 points. Meanwhile, Bianca's still in the penalty box and sitting there with one teammate. So Kingston is down a blocker and a jammer. So great advantage to East Vic. So see if Knives can keep scoring points while she has that advantage. Okay, so the Kingston blockers holding really strong tripod there, really locking down. Knives is really struggling to get through. Bianca's made it through on the inside line because she's come back on track, but just before the whistle was assessed a cut track penalty and probably needs to get off track immediately. Anyway, she is going to the penalty box by the looks of it. And it looks like we're also having a timeout. Official timeout.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what for yet.
Looks like there's some chitty chats going on with the refs, so they might be talking about. I don't know. What do refs talk about? I don't know.
Well, I'm sitting here and I can see that we've got some penalty box people in the middle there talking to the refs. So we might actually have somebody who's got too many penalties and they might have to
too many sports crimes.
Sit out now.
Too much sports crime. You've got to do the sports time. All right, so while we're having a timeout, let's do a score update. Witches of East Vic are on 126 and Kingston are on 165. So what's that, 39 points? I shouldn't do in my head maths when people are listening. It's really embarrassing. I'm going to get it wrong. Is that 39 points?
I wouldn't ask me. I don't math on the weekends.
Well,
and I only teach grade 1s.
Niall gave me a thumbs up.
You can count.
I can do numbers
well
good.
Done. So speaking of numbers, how many penalties can a skater get, Claire, before they have to be told you're not allowed to play anymore today?
Endless. Just keep being naughty. No, that's a lie. You can, once you've reached 7 penalties, the rule is that you've got to go away for a little bit because being a bit
skates
too naughty.
off and go and have a rest.
Yeah. And it can happen sometimes. You can get into a penalty spiral, you get stuck in your head a little bit and you start getting a bit tired, you start getting a bit sloppy and things happen accidentally. So really for I guess safety, we've got to make sure when that happens that we're not having too much dangerous activity on track.
Oh, we've got a forearms penalty for Nat, lead for... I was going to say lead for Cups, but...
That's a forearm penalty as well.
It's...
I think a forearms? Yeah. You know what that means?
That one there, yes, where the ref is grabbing their forearm with their opposite hand. That's signalling a forearms penalty.
I've never got a forearms penalty. You know why?
Why is that?
Because I've only got 2 arms.
Ah. Boom, boom. I approve. Unfortunately, the Kingston jammer has been sent to the bin for a little bit of a 30-second rest.
Oh, Niles is threatening to turn my microphone off if I keep making bad jokes. So, all right, I'll be serious. Professional.
We've got a derby standstill here.
What's going on?
Both jammers in the bin, maybe?
Cups has come out.
Yes, we had both jammers sitting, you see. You can't play derby without a jammer. You
that's
need at
why it
least one
stops.
jammer on track.
The blockers are like, what do we do? There's no
Nobody
jammer.
Nobody
I
block.
don't know what to do.
So, of course, one jammer sits. If the other jammer collects a penalty as well, they only have to sit as long as the first jammer was sitting for. So now we have both jammers back on track. Yay! Nobody gets lead, though, because they both went to the penalty box. However, they can both get points. Passing through the pack once, second time becomes a scoring pass. So we're getting some points on the board now. We've got Bianca jamming for Kingston, fighting through that triangle. We had Cups for East Vic. We'll give the scoreboard a second to add those points on. We have 4 for East Vic, bringing their total to 130, and 3 for Kingston, bringing their total to 168.
That's 38 points. I can do that one.
Nice work.
That's the difference.
5 minutes left of Derby today in this game.
All right, Screw Lucy for Kingston being held at the back of the pack by a defensive tripod East Vic. Meanwhile, Strawberry Shortcake pushing out the front of the pack, forcing the Kingston blockers to bridge out. But she was knocked out on the inside line, forced to recycle there by Dream Crusher. So the pack is now flipped. And we've got the East Vic blockers at the front. They're being forced to bridge out, which means that Screw Lucy is able to get out at the front of the pack.
The entire team of East Vic instructing their jammer to call.
So Strawberry Shortcake, Strawberry Shortscape, let me try that again, calling it off there from the back of the pack. So that jam, it looks like no points to anyone for that jam.
Donuts. Like the one that's sitting in front of me that I can't wait to eat really quickly before I have to ref the next game. I can ref and eat a donut at the same time, couldn't I?
Yeah, I saw Flo once eating soup while reffing, so I'm sure you can
Oh,
eat a
that
donut.
is skill. All right, Cups is out and lead jammer for East Vic. Coming up the straightaway there and into turn 3. Bam, jamming for Kingston. Having a little bit of a chat with Jack, I think. Making her way through the pack. Of course, you can only block for a certain distance outside of the pack. And Cups is doing a little spin.
Cups,
And calling it off.
I do enjoy the Cups little spin, slide, fall down,
Calling it off.
Call off
Multitasking.
from the floor gymnastics moves. I feel like it's a bit of a signature move for Cups.
It's a skill.
Okay, who have we got? We've got Screw Lucy for Kingston, and for East Vic, it is Mad Mags. So both jammers pushing on the back of the pack there. Screw Lucy at the front, Mad Mags taking the inside, but still at the back of the pack taking the outside. The blockers are moving quickly. Mad Mags, they have come around the outside on the second turn to get lead jammer. Screw Lucy still trying to get through, and they're being held there by a couple of East Vic blockers, but they've made it through. All right, Mad Mags is coming towards the back of the pack there, keeping low, trying to sneak through, hiding behind Achilles' wheel, and who is providing a little bit of offensive assistance. East Vic needs to wall up quickly before Screw Lucy comes through for some points. Oh, knocking those blockers out of the way, coming through for 4 points. Mad Mags is sent to the penalty box for what looks like a cut track penalty. So that's unfortunate. Mad Mags has lead jammer status, but when they are sent to the penalty box, you lose the lead jammer. So no lead means we have to go the full 2 minutes for this jam. No one gets called off early. So Screw Lucy, the only jammer on track at the moment. Great opportunity to try and get some points on the board, and East Vic is doing really well to keep their defensive tripod pretty strong. They also have a blocker advantage with a couple of Kingston blockers in the penalty box, but Screw Lucy has made it through and is coming back around again to score some more points. Mad Mags is also back on track. So Screw Lucy at the front of the pack and being held pretty strongly there by the East Vic blockers. They're staying together nicely. Mayhem coming to do one big hit on the inside line, but Mad Max stays on track. Okay, so Screw Lucy almost getting around on the outside, but taking a big hit there from the Rumour to be forced down and off track. So at the end of that 2-minute jam, coming to its natural conclusion, Eastvic got 4 points from that one, and Kingston, they got 10 points. So Eastvic are on 137 and Kingston are on 178.
We've got Bam and Knives lining up now for this jam. Whistle means go. Bam says, sure, straight into those Eastvic blockers. Knives says, thank you, I'll get lead. Coming around the straightaway into turn 3. Bam's out hot on Knives' heels. Straight into the side of Crush there on turn 1. Getting held up and calling it off, but not before Bam slid through. Collecting a couple of points as well.
So that was 2 points for Kingston for Bam there.
And it
only
was one for Eastvic, yes.
Yeah. So the call off is a good strategy, but Bam was a little bit too fast and managed to sneak a couple of points before that call off came through. All right, this is probably our last jam. We've got about 15 seconds left on the period clock. We've got Cupcake Fairy, Cups for Eastvic coming out getting lead. Jammer and coming around the outside there, racing away. Screw Lucy for Kingston, still stuck in the pack, trying to break on through. Eastvic blockers trying to reform in front of her, but she's taking the outside line. Big hit out there from Nat O'Ninetails, forcing the recycle. So Nat unfortunately cut track, so she's off. Screw Lucy's at the front of the pack, only against 3 Eastvic blockers who are being forced to bridge out and spread that pack out, making it a bit easier for Screw Lucy to get through. Meanwhile, Cups is still stuck at the back of the pack there as the Kingston blockers are able to reform. Eastvic are trying to do some offense to try to prevent the reformation, and we get another spin, fall, slide from the floor, call off from Cups. Signature move.
Now, Claire, I've just noticed too that Kingston have got 5-4 written on the back of their calf muscles out there. There's a little bit of a nod to Rainbow Bash, who is playing for the Australian roller derby team.
Oh,
in Paris.
In the Australian,
yes.
the juniors.
Yes, the juniors.
Yeah, so great effort. It's fantastic to see junior roller derby and the strength in the juniors, because all those juniors are getting.
And if you haven't seen the scores, they're doing really, really well,
I have
actually.
not.
They've played Canada, and they won against Canada, and they won against Great Britain as well.
And we've got some people in the audience here who are Rainbow Bash fans. So well done, Rainbow Bash, number 54 for Kingston. And when she is...
Probably fast asleep right now, really.
Yeah, but it'll be great to see her on track playing for Kingston in the future. So really great to see for the future of the sport. So we are now at the unofficial score. No, it is the official score. I can't see up to
We've
stand
got
up.
142 for Eastvic and 180 for Kingston is our final score today.
All right, so that means that Kingston will be playing in the grand final the next round against the winner of Game 5 today, which will be Diamond Valley versus Westside.
And I need to run off and go and put some ref gear on now.
All
So
right.
thank you for being a lovely chatty friend.
Thanks, Beck. Enjoy your donut.
I will. I'll try not to get it all over anything else.
So thanks for listening, everyone, today. Stay around for Game 4, which is coming up soon. Game 4 will be... it's in front of me. TRV, Team Regional Victoria, our hosts for today. And they will be playing South Sea Roller Derby Banshees. So that game is coming up apparently at 3:30. So we'll see you there. Thanks.